Today, I'm talking with Elizabeth Acevedo, who wrote this book, and this book, and this book. Hi, Liz. I'm so glad you're here today. It's a pleasure to have you here at the library. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk with you.
So one thing I've asked everybody is to bring a book they love and to talk to me about it for about a minute. So what'd you bring me?
So I brought you Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. This is the story of Juliet Palante, and she is this amazing Puerto Rican young woman being raised in the Bronx who is queer and trying to figure out her place in the world and in her family, and decides that she has to go to Portland, Oregon to do so. And she meets an amazing librarian, and she's an intern for an author, and she's kind of like transplanted herself across the country thinking that will provide clarity, and it really only provides more questions. And I love the way this character moves through the world. I love the way it's written, and that there's like a tenderness and empathy for that stage in life when you're like, I just want to find my people and my place and feel at home in my body. And I think Gabby Rivera does an incredible job of helping Juliet ask those questions.
Oh my gosh, I do love that book. Was there a scene, one that you remember in that book that really stood out to you that made you want to pick that book for today?
There's a scene where Juliet is meeting Harlow, who's the author that she's interning for, and she meets one of Harlow's friends, who's this incredible Black feminist woman, like this hipster. And I love the interactions around race and gender and sexuality that happen in that moment, that nothing is cookie cutter. None of the characters are easy. And this moment where we let a teen character have to just grapple with the adults I'm interacting with are giving me a lot of information, and I'm the only one who can determine what I want to do with it. And it felt so honest, and like it really let young people, it trusted their ability to discern who they needed in their life.
Yeah. What were you like as a teen? I've always been so curious. Like, were you a reader? Well, like, where did you grow up, and what were you like as a reader and as a young person?
I was born and raised in New York City, right a neighborhood adjacent to Harlem called Morningside Heights, and I was a reader. Yes, I was a reader. Everyone would be kicking in. I'm like, I'm going to the library. Bye. Like, I loved the library. I loved my books. There was an escape even as a young person that I think I needed. And books kind of let me just dive in for hours and be in a world that offered so much.
So your work is, you write in prose and poetry, but I want to talk to you a little bit about poetry because that's how you first came in to writing, spoken word and so on. So how did you discover the power of spoken word and poetry as a young person?
It started with song and then rap and then poetry, and eventually just realizing that I had navigated through a lot of ways of encapsulating language, and that maybe, I could stretch in and out of all these different modes. Yeah.
How have you managed to write something so specific and that is at the same time so completely universal?
So much of reading is about wonder, right? And it's about what the reader brings. I don't know if this happens to you. There have been books I've started, I'm like, this book is whack. I don't like this book. I'm not into it, right? And then 2 years later, I'm like, everybody loves this thing. I'm gonna try it again. And I tried it again. I'm like, what was I thinking? The book hasn't changed, right? It was me, and it was what I was bringing. And so I think that oftentimes readers are coming with this hunger to understand their families or certain members or dynamics or dysfunction, and then they see this lens that is so close to the heart because it often is verse. Most of my books have been in verse, and it's about the interior, and I think they find that what they're bringing almost like illuminates the text, right? And so it's partly me, but I think it's partly that my readers want to be vulnerable, they want to be open, and they want to find pathways towards understanding family.
Liz, tell me something you think is true about growing up.
I think it is true that it can be hard to figure out what your place is, especially when you're in the stage where you are still maybe treated as a child in certain instances, but also expected to be able to have young adulthood or adult-like tendencies in other instances, right? You're a young woman, you don't behave like that, but then also you're a kid, you're not allowed to, like that crux of, what am I? How do I move through the world with my own thoughts and opinions and ideas and speak those out, and also accept that maybe I don't know everything, or that this person has more experience. They're telling me they have more experience, and I have to contend with that. Do I believe them, right? That they know better, and that I think causes a lot of tension. And I don't know if it's because for me, my memory of being 13, 14, 12 was so hard, or because I taught that age, and so I got to see, oh, this is someone who is in the middle of a transition of like, I was little a year ago. I was a sixth grader. I was smaller, or fifth grader. And now I'm a teen and I'm expected to do certain things. And so I that in-betweenness, the difficulty of that in-betweenness and of that age, I think it's just true. It is a hard age. Hormonally, right? Mentally, psychologically, physically. And so all of those things in turmoil at once, I think it is true that it can just be really confusing.
Liz, it has been such a joy to have you here. This archive wouldn't have been complete without your voice, and I'm so grateful that you came. Thanks for sitting with me and chatting.
Thank you. It means so much to me, Meg. It was a pleasure.